Welcome to the New to Crypto podcast, designed to guide you through the crypto landscape with pinpoint accuracy, created for the new and intermediate crypto investor. Join your host, Crypto Travels Michael, as he takes you through the different facets of getting started and succeeding in your crypto journey. New to Crypto podcast brings you new episodes daily, Monday through Friday, with surprise bonus episodes sometimes on the weekend. Let me ask you, are you new to crypto? Don't know where to start? Are you more experienced but have questions? Then you're in the right place. This podcast is designed for you. Coming at you from the Trading Center in the Lifestyle Design Studio, here's your host, Crypto Travels Michael.
Hey, welcome to today's episode. I'm excited about today's episode. Today, I have a legend on the show. I have Tony Saliba, the founder of Liquid Mercury, here today. Tony is a globally recognized business leader and a pioneer in the trading industry for the last 4 decades. He is a serial entrepreneur and a master trader, as well as a trainer of traders. He has been a board member of the Chicago Stock Exchange. He's the founder of International Trading Institute, Liquid Point, Matrix Holdings Group, and Efficient Capital Management. He's also the author of numerous books, including the title Managing Expectations. Definitely do not miss this episode. It's going to be packed with gold nuggets. Tony, man, it's a true honor and pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks, Michael. My pleasure being with you.
Hey, before we dive in, for those that did not hear our last interview that we did earlier in the year, can you share with our listeners just a little bit about yourself?
Sure thing. Well, I started as a floor trader at the CBOE. Actually, I'm in the Board of Trade building now. We just moved here in May, and I started in this building in 1978. And I started trading shortly thereafter, early 79. Spent 13 years as a floor trader, market maker. I was funded with some seed capital by an investor that I caddied for, and then bought him out shortly thereafter, and then spawned a trading company where I had as many as 27 traders trading for me at one point. We got a DPM, which is a designated primary market making designation on CBOE. We had clients and listed a number of stocks that we traded through the 90s. My brother ran that while I got into technology, and I started, I wrote my first app in 1984 for the PC, and over the years, I used those tools that I built for my own trading needs, and quickly realized that it would be probably good to make them for other people to use. And I got involved with front ends in the early 90s. I spawned Liquid Point in 2000. Liquid Point became the largest workflow automation option system, which still exists today under the name of Dash. The Matrix, which I started in 2017, competes with Liquid Point and Dash. And then shortly thereafter, I started Mercury Digital Assets, which I came over to run full-time at the end of the first quarter of this year. And Mercury Digital Assets, as the name said, but Liquid Mercury, as our new name is a technology company for professionals and institutions that have clients to trade crypto spot, crypto derivatives, and options. And it's we just rebranded it, so Liquid Mercury.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for sharing with us, Tony. I actually wanted to bring that up about the rebrand. Mm-hmm. So what was the reasoning behind the decision for the rebrand?
Well, our URL and domain was too long to type. No, I'm just kidding. It was I came up with the name because of Mercury Digital Assets. I'm very specific and literal in a lot of cases, And I wanted everybody to know that, what we did, digital assets. And over the last year or so, we started kicking around a name that was a little bit more descriptive in terms of what we've done in our past. We've helped bring liquidity to customers. Thus the name Liquid Point, which was the point of liquidity for options, still very relevant.
Okay.
And
Okay.
we didn't want to lose the Mercury part. So we kind of, if you think about Mercury as a element, it is liquid, it can be solid, and it can be a gas. And each of those forms has meaning in our business in terms of liquidity, in terms of the speed and ethereal aspect of the gas, but also the solidness of solid mercury, which in Chicago we have a tourist attraction called the Bean, and anybody who's been to Chicago kind of goes to Millennium Park, and it's made out of solid mercury, and it looks like a bean. It's called the Cloud, I think, so it's a sort of a rallying point for us, Liquid Mercury, and we have a whole thematic set of swag and everything that we're coming up with, bringing out here shortly.
Oh, awesome!
Merch, man.
I'm totally with you on the Mercury and
one of the first polos.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Pretty cool. Yeah.
I love the meaning behind Mercury. I've just been studying the last few months the periodic table with my 9-year-old son, and this is the second time we've been over it. The first time was when he was 5, and we actually just came up with Mercury. We just, that was one of the elements that we've been studying. So to hear you break it down, it was awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, tell him good luck on that. I mean, I was always thrilled with Mercury when I was about his age. We would break thermometers and put the mercury into little jars. And then I heard that, oh my God, it could be poison. And we thought it was poison if you just touched it. So we learned the lesson, but we like our new brand.
Okay.
We have a new website, but we're also adding to that website with our, recent new partnerships and the new token and everything that we're doing. So it's a pretty exciting time.
Okay. Absolutely. Can you break down your institutional grade infrastructure and liquidity for our listeners that this might be their first time listening?
Absolutely. So anybody who's traded anything, if you're in the listed market, if you're trading equities or options or even futures, the world is kind of split up, and every function is done by a different type of company that's regulated. You have your broker, and then you have, a clearing agent, and possibly a prime broker in the middle of that. And then, of course, the exchange where you trade it on. But in crypto, for the first 10 years, it was hard. First 5 or 6 years were hard to find trades, and there were, exchanges set up. But more recently, that's 3 or 4 years with Coinbase and Binance and others, you have kind of these large monolithic exchanges, but they do a lot of those functions all in one place. So you get their front end, you get their routing services, you get the liquidity that they provide, and the clearing, and then the banking. And what Mercury has done is split those apart. We have OTC liquidity providers that give deeper, tighter markets than you'll find on the exchanges. And we deliver that with no additional charges to that. We have very high grade professional front end and middle office tools so that you can do more analytics. You can see more of the market with where the books are and where the liquidity is. We have a lot more order types. And then everything we do, we come from traditional finance, Wall Street will. So everything we do is built in that sort of fashion, not as a e-commerce website, for instance.
Okay.
So regulatorily, reporting, best execution, and we're a B2B. So all of our customers are other institutions, but we just came out with this B2B2C solution where retail people can now get these tools through an intermediary.
Okay. Thanks for unpacking that, Tony. I wanted to ask you, being a master trader and let's just be honest, a legend, what would you say is the most valuable piece of wisdom that you could pass along to all of us?
Well, some of the things that are fairly trite are true. Don't overtrade your wallet and money management, for instance. But for me, looking back, and I've done this a lot over the last 30 years, is what made me different, what has made me different, maybe than the guys I was standing next to or that are trading. And that is, I seek a sounding board, right? And I think that's today's chat rooms or trading communities to bounce ideas off of other people, which I'm not advocating that the communities are in and of themselves going to be helpful for your viewers and listeners, but find the right one to share ideas. My internal nickname, Mike, is a Mr. What If. So I'm constantly doing risk analysis, what ifs on everything I do in business, but also particularly trading. So to have a sounding board that you feel confident can pick apart your thesis is very valuable. Okay.
Awesome. Well said. Thanks for sharing that gold nugget for sure. Let's talk about you have a new partnership your firm does with Gemini, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. So we were very fortunate. We negotiated this for a while in the first part of the year, and the good fortune is that we were able to strike this deal with Gemini, which is a Winklevoss Brothers company. Gemini is in the top 10 U.S. exchanges for crypto, highly attenuated to regulatory norms and paths forward, what might be expected in the regulated environment. So a very upstanding exchange, and one of the more highly touted custody services. And we've created a unique one-stop shop to onboard, which is AML, KYC, with them, trading through our platform, which is OTC markets, which are deeper and tighter than you'll find on most of the exchange venues, for no added fees, and cleared in custody with Gemini. So you get professional trading tools, professional service, and professional direct to OTC markets all in one stop. And we're ready to go live any day now with our first institution called LaunchPub. And they are extending this to their audience. And if your viewers and listeners are trading crypto, they can find their way to liquidmercury.com, and we'll introduce them to LaunchPub, because we don't interact with individuals, but we do service them through our business partners.
Okay, excellent. Well, we'll definitely have that link on the episode blog page. And I understand you also have your new product, Liquid Mercury Plus.
So that's the name of the outbound solution is the partnership with the Winklevoss brothers.
That is the one. Okay.
That's the name of it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
With the
so,
Gemini. Okay.
So what we're bringing to the market with Plus is that one-stop shop where, the average everyday individual trader can get the tools that our institutional traders get. We also have a section where they can watch their equity trades, and do portfolio analysis with their equity portfolio and crypto pairs.
Okay, no, that's huge. That's definitely a benefit for all the listeners who trade. I also wanted to ask you about the current state of the market and your thoughts.
Well, so the last couple of days, yesterday particularly, and today with a bunch of follow through on that, we're not in the markets of 2017 to 2021. You are definitely seeing the Powell and the Fed are hell-bent on reining in inflation. What they feel is, over-exuberance in trading and investing. And like yesterday, I just saw it about as clear as day. And I'm not trading all day, every day. I'm running Mercury. But I took time out right before the Fed meeting to get some positions in place because I just could have written the script that they were going to try to gun this thing after the comments by Chairman Powell. And it's just not going to be the same way until we see a change in some of these inflationary numbers. I think you should have started this years ago. I wouldn't have guessed that we would have gone 10 years with a hold on interest rates like we have. It's just really unfair to elderly savers. And now it's going to hurt, mortgage buyers and home buyers. But this choppiness, as we talked before we started, allows for a lot of great short-term trading opportunities. Even bear markets. I mean, look, we had a 2-week bear market rally. It was sustained more than most people I know thought it would go. And it's not certain that we won't have a Christmas rally in here too. But I think that we're in a bear market for a while, and I think you trade from that bearish side. So if you can afford to short stocks, great. Otherwise, put strategies and like what I like to do is put on zero cost or credit collars and trade around them, along with butterflies, of course.
Okay. And going into 2023 and even into 24, how do you see, in terms of the market, do you see us being in this for quite some time, or,
Well, so I simplistically think that we can drill and pump our way out of this. Okay. I simplistically think that if a more rational mindset was at the helm with regard to our national energy policy, that we not only could address the energy costs that permeates everything we touch, whether it's manufacturing or shipping or actual energy itself, we can, especially with what's going on in Ukraine, we can become the energy supplier again to our allies in Europe. So we have an important election Tuesday that if, what the polls look to see happening and you have a change in the House, particularly purse strings there, and the Senate possibly, where you can impact some policy, the Biden administration may not like it, but eventually they may go along with a face-saving modification to our energy policy that allows relief to the American citizen and revenues into this country by selling oil. And once this gets into the wind, traders will take oil down in advance of this. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to get out of this sooner rather than later. If control of power doesn't change, then 23 could be a bleak year.
Okay. Yeah, that I wanted to ask you, what your thoughts were on Q4 as well, and I'm sure what we're talking about right now is part of that. Anything else to add into the rest of? Well, what do we have? 2 months left.
Yeah, we have 2 months left. Like I said, I think I'm in some pretty exclusive conference calls that I feel honored to be a part of, and there could be a reasonable reactionary Christmas rally. The question is, when does it start and how long does it last? But you're getting a good clean out right now back to, some sensibilities to where we were. I look at the SPOOs mostly. So if you, get back down under, 3,700, 3,650, could bounce and have a Christmas rally, maybe, back up to 38 or 3,900. But like I said, I don't trade full time. It's anecdotal. I speculate here and there. I'm all about running Mercury and trying to address problems and issues that help make crypto enthusiasts have an easier time of trading.
Excellent. Tony, is there a story from all of your trading days that you could share for our everyone listening?
Well, there's different eras that I traded in, and when I started, Michael, we didn't have computers available to us. I mean, you could buy time on a mainframe and type in requests and get theoretical values printed out. But for the most part, everybody had different styles of trading, kind of based on their personality. But you had some tape readers, you had scalpers, you had value investors that used options against fundamentals, different time frames. I was, a very typical market maker where I traded the flow that came into the crowd and tried to protect myself with low risk hedges, and developed a love for the butterfly strategy, which was complex but simplistic in that it had limited risk, it had a defined return, and you had basically 4 bites of the apple to put it on, the wings and the body, right? So different eras had different characters that I came in contact, and there were lessons. Okay, so one of the more epic events in my trading career when I was on the floor was in 1983 when I traded a stock called Teledyne, and I would say the vast majority of your viewers are too young to understand that we didn't have indexes to gauge different market conditions. So back in the day, the first tradable index was the S&P 500, and that was right around 1983 or 84. Prior to that, the marketplace had proxies, surrogates for indexes, and you had IBM and Honeywell and Polaroid and Kodak, Texas Instruments, and Teledyne, and probably 5 or 6 others, Superior Oil. And these were proxies for what the market was going to do as sentiment changed. Teledyne was very illiquid, and the guy who ran it, he didn't like people using it as an indicator for the market because it distorted his stock prices on the turns. People would come in and buy it when they were bullish, and then when they were bearish, it would get tossed out with the rest, never really aligning with the fundamentals of the company. Okay. So what he did, which I thought was really clever and interesting, occasionally he would announce a stock buyback. And anybody who's been involved in a takeover or a stock buyback, if it's open-ended, where the suitor says we're going to take 10% of the company or more, you never know where that price is going to go. And you immediately get a stock, you get a short squeeze. So that's all background to say, in 1983, stock was trading at about $180. Across the tape comes Henry Singleton announces stock buyback of at least 10% of Teledyne with no target price. Every short in the world came in to cover, and the squeeze took the price from $180 to over $300. And back then, that was a huge move. And it inverted all the time spreads, and people were just begging us market makers to let them, where can I get out of my spreads, And it was really amazing. And I mean, that's kind of the setup to all these little vignettes where these big traders that didn't trade in our crowd came in, and at first they were like, oh, screw it. It's, no big deal. And then they watched the stock go, to 200, to 2.25, 250. And then this happened over a few days. And this sustained upside squeeze just brought everybody to their knees. And it was very, very telling and very enlightening. So I have a saying I live by, and I advocate anybody in your audience that is actively trading options, staying spread is staying alive. And I had a bunch of pens, mechanical pencils with those printed boxes of them, and I had my clerks handing them out on the floor, kind of rubbing it in everybody's face. They hated me for a while.
Tony, thanks for sharing that, man. That was probably a trip down memory lane for you.
Yeah, it was. And, there's some really great ones, Michael. And next time you're in Chicago, we'll go out for a dinner and drinks with a bunch of my fellow floor traders. Because when we get together, we trigger each other's memories on some of these things. And I, as a journalist, content provider, you bring your notepad and you're like, whoa, let's develop that. They're pretty interesting.
Absolutely.
Stories. They're not all PG either.
I look forward to it. I love Chicago. It was, the last time I was there, it was so uncanny. There was no wind. It was just gorgeous. I couldn't believe it. I was staying downtown, by the water.
We do have our, September is a great month. And as I was saying earlier today, it's 70 degrees and sunny. It's like late August, early September day out. It's going to be that way all weekend. So knock on wood. We get lucky here every now and then.
Absolutely. Tony, how can our listeners reach out to you and your team, stay in the conversation? If we have institutions that are listening that are not dialed in and set up with you guys yet,
Well, if they go to liquidmercury.com, that's our website, and there's a place to contact us. If they mention your show, Michael, or your name, I'll personally answer their question or respond to them.
Wow.
We are in the process of adding to our website. We launched our token, so we're adding to it, but the contact us is there. And if it's a trading question or something about the show, I will personally say hi and give them some feedback. If it's an institution, I will, have one of our great representatives get in touch with them, show them how we can help them benefit with our trading tools.
Awesome. Hey, thank you, Tony. That's for all of our trader listeners. Have a question, contact Tony on the Contact Us page on his site. Either that, or you can just email us at info@liquidmercury.com.
Okay. So either way, happy to make that connection with, I know you have a worldwide audience, Michael, but depending on the market, I'm sure we can either help them or point them in the right direction.
Okay. Thank you, Tony. In closing, I wanted to ask you, is there anything else that you would like to share with everyone listening?
I would just say that money management is the biggest factor for everybody. Don't overtrade in these markets. Monitor your clip size and, use options wherever you can, because staying spread is staying alive.
Okay, well said. Tony, man, it was a pleasure and an honor to have you on the show. And as always, man, we welcome you back anytime.
Thanks. And look for the Merc. MERC trades on DeFi or CEX.
That's your token, yeah? The Merc token.
Yeah, and if you go to our website, our tokenomics are there. Trading crypto or interested in trading tools, it's a utility token that has something for everybody.
Okay, awesome. Well said. Tony, it was a pleasure. And, we look forward to having you chime in again. If you like today's episode, definitely like and subscribe to the podcast, show your support, and chime in here tomorrow for another special episode. Until then, make it a great day.
Thanks for tuning in to New to Crypto Podcast. If you like the episode, be sure to follow and subscribe. You can listen to every episode on all major platforms. Have an interest in being on the show or want advertising? Reach out at newtocrypto.io. Head over to our site, newtocrypto.io, to access the resources mentioned in each episode. Until next time, remember to navigate the crypto landscape with pinpoint accuracy.